Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 18 of the Split Screen Podcast, live from Split Screen Studios. I appreciate you being here and spending some time with me, your host, KCCHRISG. Let's get into this thing. If you want to follow the page, if you want to follow the podcast and give topic suggestions, your thoughts on today's topics, and any other thoughts, you can message the show on Twitter and Instagram. Both of those are SplitScreenKC. And if you would like to follow me personally, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well, KCCHRISG. We're also on Facebook under Split Screen Podcast. Leave us a like, give us a share, do what you do. But we're going to get straight into this thing. We have two things to talk about. One of them is kind of rhetorical, but not really. The first one is Nintendo Direct highlights. If in case you haven't heard any of the news by then, I'll just give you a quick rundown of what stood out to me. Mostly, first, what's it called? Nintendo titles, first party titles, I guess. And some talk about Battlefield 2042. So stick around. This is the Split Screen Podcast, live from Kansas City. And I don't know why I had to add that. So let's get into this thing. First, I want to talk about the Nintendo Direct. So there was a Nintendo Direct a few days. Might have been. Yeah, I think it was almost a week ago. So I think it was wow, I'm late to this then, huh? Anyway, it was about 40 minutes long, and it covered indie games along with main Nintendo franchises that are getting new entries. So if you are a Nintendo fan and you haven't watched it yet, one, what are you doing? And two, I'm going to be just covering some of the main things. So first of all, the surprising or not so surprising, depending on how you look at it, absences from the Direct were Metroid Prime 4 and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. And just to throw this in for laughs, Sonic Frontiers, because I don't know, I just feel like Sonic Frontiers we don't have too many details on yet, and I think that fitting it into the Nintendo Direct would be a perfect fit, because I feel like maybe it's just me, but I enjoy those games more on something like the Nintendo Switch over something like the Xbox or the PlayStation 5, so those games were not even mentioned, which was a little surprising, but understandable considering Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is going to get its own Direct, most likely, along with Metroid Prime 4. If Metroid Prime 4 doesn't get its own, then I would imagine that it's going to be mixed in with something else that they're going to announce. So let's get into what they did announce. First and foremost, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So this is the sequel to, obviously, Xenoblade 2, came out in 2017. I've never played any of these games, so I don't know what it's like. I just know that it's going to be taking place in the world of Xenoblade after the events of 1 and 2. It'll show basically what happened after both of those games. I don't really have much to say on it because I have never played. Should I play it? Should I play them? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So there's no exact date set for it other than September 2022. So that's your release window for that. But something that I had no idea about that was going to be announced is another Mario Strikers game. So, if you like Mario sports games, this is fantastic news. Who doesn't like Mario sports games? But I loved Super Mario Strikers when it was on the GameCube. And I believe they did another one on the... Was it on the Wii? Might have been on the Wii. I'm not certain, though. There was a sequel, but Mario Strikers Battle League is the title for this one. And I don't know when the last one came out. I'm trying to think. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but It's been overdue. I was hoping for another game eventually, but I didn't expect it anytime soon. So it's amazing that they went through with this thing, and I will be for sure picking it up because it supports local multiplayer as well as online multiplayer. So that's going to be fun playing against other people in an arcade soccer style game. Some things that stood out to me, I mean, obviously it's a Mario title, right? So you're going to have items, power-ups, but the stadiums look amazing. It looks like you can kind of like do half and half on the designs on stadiums. Like one half will have a certain aesthetic and then the other one will have a different looking theme. So that's going to be interesting to see. And I don't think it was mentioned, and I don't expect it, but it would be cool to see like a custom stadium editor / maker. You can make your own Mario Striker Stadium. I think that would be kind of cool. So some new additions to this are gear to wear that affects your players and teams' stats. That's never been done before in a Mario Strikers game. And outside of Mario Kart, where you can adjust several things on your car, I don't know if they've done that on any other sports games. Correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I've played, they haven't done anything like that before. So that's going to be cool. So certain gear will give you certain stats and trade-offs. So you pick wisely with what you choose. It just adds another layer of depth that I think Mario games don't necessarily need, but it's going to be cool to see anyway. It's kind of like Super Mega Baseball, if any of you have ever played that. It's an arcadey style game, but there's a shocking level of depth to that game. I apologize if you can hear my phone going off. Also, Split Screen Studios, the original one, is being renovated, so I'm in the Split Screen Studios living room. So if there's a little bit of an echo, I do apologize. So, I think oh, you know what? I'm smart enough to put it in my notes that this is 15 years later after the last Super Mario Strikers game. So, we've been way overdue. And it's surprising to me because in today's, I like to call this time period that we're in right now, the age of leaks, where people are very quick to post something spoilerish as soon as they find out about it. And people have big mouths. People like to find things in coding. They know people. This just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody heard a single thing about this game. So the fact that this is the first time hearing about it after so many years of not only being developed, but after waiting so long for a sequel, it's pretty cool, and it's impressive, and how it didn't get leaked before is beyond me. So good on you, Nintendo. Congrats. You kept a secret. That's hard to do these days. So you can hit the field with Mario, Luigi, and friends on June 10th, 2022. June 10th, 2022. Summertime soccer. I mean, it's going to be fun. Play with your friends, play against your friends, play against other people online. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So when is a Mario American football game going to be made? Am I the only one asking for that? I feel like I am. Do we need it? Probably not, but I still want one. All right, next installment in the Kirby franchise is coming soon. It's arriving March 25th, so sooner than you think. Kirby's next game is going to be titled Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And, at least in my opinion, it took some notes from Super Mario Odyssey. And when I say that, it's putting the main character, the titular character, is that how you say that? Titular? Character into some more realistic looking environments. It's not like super cartoony like crystal shards, and basically any other Kirby game that you've played. And like it was a change of scenery and pace for Mario because we've played countless games in the Mushroom Kingdom, and then we got to explore places like New Donk City and Fossil Falls? I was gonna say Fossil Canyon, but I think that's Diddy Kong Racing. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. It's not. There was some realistic looking environments, places that looked familiar to us. So it's refreshing to see, but I guess the question I want to ask you is, do you like it when, I mean, obviously a bunch of people liked when Mario Odyssey did that, but can they get the same reception from someone like Kirby? I'd love to know your opinions on that. Do you like the realistic-ish settings? And if so, what kind of locations do you hope to see? I guess that's another interesting question to ask you, and I'd love to know your opinion on that. So a big takeaway for me from this trailer as well would be that Kirby is sucking everyone and everything with what they call mouthful mode, where he takes the shape and abilities of many different objects and enemies. And when I say objects, I'm talking light bulbs. They showed him sucking a car. They showed him sucking a vending machine, which is also another thing that to me seems like inspired from Super Mario Odyssey, because, I mean, in that game you could take control of anything and sort of gain their abilities. So I'm not saying that it's a carbon copy, it's a direct copy paste of Super Mario Odyssey, but it just seems like it was heavily inspired by it so far, and I could be completely wrong, and you should expect me to be completely wrong about this. But is it gonna, and I'm sure it's gonna play different enough to where you can differentiate the two between a Kirby and a Mario game, but it just seems like it's heavily inspired by that. I'm still gonna try to play it, obviously, but let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's just ripping off Mario Odyssey, or do you think that this deserves to be looked at in a different way? Let me know. So that's coming on March 25th, 2022. So let me know if you're a Kirby fan. I haven't played too many Kirby games, but when I have, they're pretty fun. It seems like some are very, very easy, and I understand that it's marketed towards younger ones, but I mean, I like some Kirby. The only time I don't like Kirby is when I'm playing against one of my best friends, Savage. He is a nightmare when playing as Kirby in Super Smash Brothers. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So a game that I've never played before is getting a third entry, Splatoon 3, coming in summer of 2022. That is the release window. There's a lot of games coming out in the summer and springtime. So if you were wanting some amazing Nintendo games and wanting some more sequels, then this is your year, I hope. I've never played a Splatoon game at all. I only know them from Smash and some trailers that I've seen for the first two games, but it just doesn't look like something that I would enjoy. I'd try it, but I don't think it's for me. But if it is for you, another entry coming. So be on the lookout for a release date, probably soon if it's a summer release date. We'll move on to just another quick announcement that they did. I think this is cool. I'm not going to buy it, but if you haven't played these games, you definitely should. Portal and Portal 2 are being ported over to the Switch. So if you haven't played those games for some reason, one, what are you doing? Two, I recommend them on Steam first off, if you are considering it. Same with Left 4 Dead. They're usually pretty cheap on Steam. And three, if you want to get it on the Switch, I think it's a bundle. It's called the Companion Cube Pack or the Companion Pack or something like that. It's going to bundle Portal 1 and 2. Portal 2 does support co-op play and I believe co-op online play. So after you beat the single player, hop into some co-op, and it's like a whole other campaign. So it's pretty fun. I don't think they gave a release date on that just yet, other than that it's coming out this year. So hopefully we get a release date on that soon. Metroid fans were probably blue-balled when they heard the news about Metroid Dread instead of Metroid Prime 4. So if you own Metroid Dread, you may have noticed that there was a free update that added new difficulty settings for you, adding a rookie mode and a Dread mode. So rookie mode obviously makes the game way easier. Dread mode makes everything like a one-hit kill. So if you need a little more challenge, you want to spice things up a little bit, then try out Dread mode. It might be fun. Fire Emblem Warriors 3. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Houses. My notes are a little confusing sometimes. That's coming in June of 2022 as well. So you got some spicy stuff coming out here just in June. But man, this summer's going to be awesome for Nintendo fans. And last but certainly not least, for your Mario Kart 8 people, this game is getting milked to no end. That being said, if you love playing Mario Kart 8, then this should be good news for you. You're going to be getting 48 tracks, courses, whatever you call them, added through something called the Booster Course Booster Course Pass. So there's going to be 6 updates total, each containing 8 tracks. And these will all release until the end of next year, which is, unless something changes, remains to be 2023. So these packs will contain beloved tracks from previous games. We're talking Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Wii. Does that have a different name? I'm severely lacking. Even tracks from Mario Kart Tour, the mobile Mario Kart game that you can play on your cell phone, they're even porting tracks over to that, so that's pretty cool. And these updates will begin on March 18th. So purchase the Booster Course Pass, and you'll be getting 48 new courses total throughout this year and next year. So that's pretty exciting for Mario Kart fans, right? You guys want more tracks? You got it. So speaking of the Booster Course Pack and just a pass in general, it is my honor and privilege and honor to announce the much highly anticipated, long-awaited Split Screen Podcast NFTs. Along with that, we have the Split Screen Podcast Battle Pass, and we're also introducing the Split Screen Podcast NFT Battle Pass. So if you subscribe now, you'll have access to purchase the Split Screen Podcast NFTs that only you will own. No one will screenshot it, and the Split Screen Podcast Battle Pass will let you earn multiple perks, such as my personal Snapchat. You can slide into my DMs and I'll answer you, and you get 1 month free access to KCCHRISG's OnlyFans. So if you subscribe now for only $34.99 a month, or if you upgrade to $35 even, then I'll also send you some prints signed from some interesting angles. Then it'll totally be worth it. Also, it's in the blockchain, so why not do it? It's totally worth it. I promise that you will not regret it. And on that note, I am very much kidding, and I hope you understand that. So let me know what you thought of the Nintendo Direct. I just wanted to kind of give you some overview. I'm very excited for what they have coming down the pipeline for this summer and later this year, and I'm sure we'll hear more about. Hopefully, we hear something about Metroid Prime 4, and I think that around E3 time, if we don't hear anything about Breath of the Wild 2 by then then there should be some cause for concern. But I think that's the very latest that they should wait to announce something if they're going to wait to announce anything about that game. People have been waiting for news, and if they don't do a direct specifically for it, then I would count on something related to E3, because I have a feeling that's going to be launching around the holiday season. And like I said, if nothing is announced by then I would expect them to say that it's been delayed until 2023 at some point, probably early 2023, so they could still capitalize on the holidays. But what was your favorite announcement from the I was going to say Split Screen podcast. What was your favorite announcement from the Nintendo Direct? I'd love to hear from you. Personally, I think mine was honestly the Super Mario Strikers. My brother and I loved playing that game on the GameCube, so hopefully we can pick this up and we'll go back at it again. So yeah, let me know on Twitter, Instagram, what you liked the most, what you're looking forward to, what kind of disappointed you. Maybe you wanted to hear more about certain games. I'd love to hear that from you. So let's move on to number 2, and this is kind of like a sarcastic but not really topic, and I want to talk about the Battlefield 2042 refund petition that at the time of writing this has reached 178.4 thousand signatures. So and I typed this out maybe a few days ago. I think it was on the 12th, and it's only going up. I can actually do a quick research here, but while I'm getting that, so just to give some context on this, February 9th, it was at 60,000 signatures, and by the time I was typing this, it was 178, almost 178,500 signatures. So that should tell you about the state of this game right now and how the fans are receiving this latest entry into the Battlefield franchise. Wow. So I just checked it. It is still going up. It is at 199,855 signatures and rising. So I will let you know while I'm recording this when it gets to 200,000 if we get there by the time the show is over. But anyway, it's just terrible. It's like how did we get here? I don't know. I mean, everyone can agree that Battlefield 2042 was a colossal failure. It was an epic failure. It was a very costly misfire, and I'm sorry, Mom. I know you listen to my shows, and I don't know if you've made it this far, but it needs to be said. It was a total shit show, right? I mean, does anybody remember when Battlefield was like a highly respected franchise that innovated and introduced many of us, myself included, to large-scale warfare and groundbreaking... I can't speak today. I am very sorry, people. Groundbreaking gameplay mechanics that became a staple of the series and kind of set a standard for many shooters to come. I mean, what happened? Battlefield used to compete with Call of Duty for the top spot when they were both being released in the same year. And I'm going to kind of go off topic for a second here, but both franchises right now are in complete disarray, and it seems like it'll be a little bit until both are fixed. I'm going to say that Battlefield is going to take longer than Call of Duty, and the reason I say that is Call of Duty is a yearly release. We've got 3 different developers working on 3 different entries in the series, which isn't the best case for Call of Duty all the time. I mean, we got Vanguard, right? And no one really cares about Vanguard right now. I don't know if that's going to change, but as of right now, it seems like Vanguard and Call of Duty as a whole is just not in a good state right now. Fortunately, a yearly release is a good thing, at least this year, because it means we don't have to wait too long for Call of Duty to hopefully redeem itself with Infinity Ward's entry, which is going to be they call it a sequel to Modern Warfare, which we're all just expecting them to call it Modern Warfare 2, but who knows? Maybe they might change it. But Battlefield isn't so lucky. This isn't a yearly release. They have a lot of work to do, which makes this scenario even worse, because if it's not a yearly release, right? So that should mean that they had a lot of time to make sure that this game was in a good state to release it. And they had more time to make sure that it was as polished as can be and as it needed to be. And I remember when the beta was released, people were panning that thing. They hated it. We had some funny moments and funny glitches here and there, but for the most part, it was just a mess. And I'm pretty sure it was supposed to happen at one point, and it got delayed, and they waited till like the last second to announce when the dates were going to be. EA and DICE's communication throughout the development process of this game was absolutely abysmal, and it's still abysmal. So, and they're delaying things. There was supposed to be an update by now to the game to add more content, and that I'm pretty sure that got delayed till summertime. So this game is just screwed right now, and I feel sorry for you if you spent money on it. And let's be real here. When we talk about betas and alphas that are glitchy and one as panned as this one, I have to admit that I get worried and nervous for the finished product, and rightfully so, right? I mean, this is a preview of what you're going to be paying for. And sometimes I'm a bit naive. Something inside me just convinces me that the good in man still that it exists. And since it's a beta, a lot of these issues will be cleared up, and a bunch of them typically do get removed, and features get added sometimes. But that was when I was just a young boy who didn't know anything about the world a few months ago. Since then I've bloomed. I've blossomed into such a vibrant and handsome man that knows better. But let's be real for a second here, folks. Alphas and betas, at least for shooters, as far as shooters are concerned, and hell, even some sports games, are really that's just a code for saying, yeah, this is what we're going to be putting out at launch, and they'll add more content later, along with patching a few things here and there on launch day. And we're going to push this game out with all the bugs and all the glitches that you see now. Maybe a couple of them will be patched by then, but for the most part, this is how it's going to be when it releases. And but hey, you know what? We're gonna push the game out in an unfinished state, and then we're gonna force a battle pass on you or some kind of paid content thing, and we're gonna put everything behind a paywall, and then content that should have been added into the game at launch, we're going to go ahead and give you those in free updates and make it look like we're the good guys, right? That's usually what happens. That's what's been happening. And I hate to say it, but that's what happened with Halo. Yeah, the multiplayer released early, and yeah, it's pretty polished as far as gameplay mechanics and bugs, but it launched with barely any maps and barely any game modes, along with an overpriced store. I mean, I get it's free to play, but we deserve better than that, right? I mean, it's okay to say we deserve better than that. Some people like to say, and I used to be one of these people until recently, some people say that it could be worse, it could be buggy, it could be a mess. And I agree, it could be worse. But a wise man once said, by the name of Alex, I love you, by the way, Alex. Shout out to you. Shout out to Nate. Shout out to JD. Shout out to Savage. That, yeah, it could be worse, but it could also be better. Do not stick to the toxic positivity, people. And you know what? Those words stuck with me. It could be worse, you're right, but it also could be way better. The gaming industry as a whole could be way better. Am I getting off topic a little bit? Yeah, maybe. But we all need to wake up here a little bit. Everything could be better. Anyway, let's get back to Battlefield. I'm sorry. You know what? No, I'm not sorry. I take that back. It could be better, damn it. But anyway, and that being said, Battlefield 2042's beta was heavily criticized for many bugs, glitches, and problems with lightings and guns looking hilarious. And this game, I know it was a lot of games nowadays due to the whole pandemic situation, which we're not going to talk about too much because we hear about it enough already, is a lot of these games are being made from home. And I completely understand that makes it difficult. But we've seen too many games delayed to not because it wasn't ready and it wasn't in the right state to be released. And it's like, is it too much to just tell us like, yeah, we're not where we want to be right now? Halo did that. Halo, people panned it, so they delayed it a year, and it sucked waiting another year for it. But look what we have now. It could be better, but it's definitely better than what we had before. So, it's just, I mean, that game was delayed, yes, and it's not perfect, but it's not to the point where people are demanding refunds for it. Plus, it even has a functioning scoreboard. So, the petition, which is on change.org, you can sign it if you want. I'm sure it's already reached 200. Oh, hold on. We're almost there, I think, to 200,000. Let me refresh the page here. We're at 199,871. Still going up. 874 now. So it says. Let me tell you what this should be. What the message should be sending to developers right now. This petition on change.org is basically giving a giant middle finger to EA, to DICE, and to many developers that put games out like this. This game sucks. We want our money back because you sold us a game without telling us that it was clearly not finished. Right? It's saying we want better. We deserve better. We're giving you our hard-earned money. Right? We deserve a product that's worth playing and that's even playable. Even Steam handed out some refunds for this game, and they rarely do that for people that have played it for more than a certain amount of hours. They were handing out some refunds. What does that tell you? What's next? Do they go through with the refunds? Do they ignore the outcry? The pleas for a finished game? And for people's money to be returned? Does the larger gaming community take notice of this? Will game developers and studios notice this and change the approach to their future projects? Will this stick in the back of their minds going forward? I mean, this is going to have ripple effects throughout the entire gaming industry. At least that's what I'm hoping. All of these questions answered and more on the next episode of Split Screen Podcast. Jokes aside, I really do hope this sends a message to developers and studios along with publishers and tells them that we expect finished products when we spend our hard-earned money on these things that we get excited for, just to be slapped and just to be mushroom stamped in the face and our money taken. Especially with the state of the world as it is right now. For some people, money can be hard to come by, and sometimes maybe they have just enough to spend on a game. And maybe that game was Battlefield 2042, and they get mushroom stamped in the face, and then they're left with an unfinished product. It's like going to McDonald's and ordering a combo meal, and then you just get the fries, and they're like, oh yeah, you got to pay for the rest. Or sorry, we don't have that ready for you just yet. Come back next time. You know what I mean? Will the message get through? If you ask me personally, I doubt it. If you ask my younger self from a couple weeks ago, when I was still saying it could be worse, I would have said, well, at the very least, someone should take notice of the fallout that happened here, and we'll try to guarantee that it won't happen on their projects. You know, they'd hate to see their name attached to something that gets as much heat as this, right? But, come on. 2022, publishers, developers, studios, hell, even politicians, they're all stubborn, and they don't listen. So why would they listen now? They're making money. Who cares, right? They're probably hoping that it'll all blow over here soon anyway. So with that being said, I want to push this theory out, and speaking of politicians, I'm going to push out a weird conspiracy theory to you. And you can laugh at it all you want, because I was laughing at it when I thought about it the other day. So I really do think that the people that paid money for this and probably know that this game is going down shit creek without a paddle right now is trash. They know that it's trash. And still have the balls to defend this trash heap are the same people that are purchasing and supporting NFTs. Think about it. I mean, how can you see that this game is obviously broken and still say that it's a good game? And people are saying things like, "Well, wait until they finish the game. Wait until they fix the bugs. Wait until they add more content. It's a work in progress, etc., 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 blah, blah, blah." Anything to justify spending your money on this trash heap. But to all that I say, what drugs are you on, and where can I get some too? So I can be comfortable with accepting failure and half-assed work so easily like that and not care. And I get that Battlefield used to be an amazing franchise. There's no denying that Battlefield 3 and 4 were probably peak Battlefield. We all have memories on those games. Bad Company 2 was fantastic. Even Battlefield 1 was pretty solid. I think Battlefield 5 is when things started to turn, but Battlefield 5 wasn't nearly as bad as this. Excuse me. We need to hold the same standards now as we did with previous titles, along with making sure we hold studios accountable the whole way through, which is what this petition aims to do. And with the mindset of less content is somehow amazing, I can't help but think that they look at NFTs, which are like 90% basic cartoon art that's somehow popular. They look at NFTs and they say, this is the Mona Lisa of artwork, and don't even think for a second that they shouldn't buy this. They just throw their money at it. It boggles my mind on how people not only purchase these, but get pressed and butthurt when you tell them the truth about this game or NFTs or whatever have you. When you tell them that this game's trash and they defend it, like just how? It's like arguing with a little kid. They're always going to be right, quote unquote right. So you just leave it, right? You just give it up. It's not worth the effort. Buying Battlefield 2042 and saying it's going to be better and that it's still amazing right now is like someone selling you a brand new car, but it's missing brakes, it's missing air conditioning, and it's missing windshield wipers, and saying you think it's great as it is, and you expect that stuff to come later. you kind of want it now, right? Don't you want it now? Don't you want the full thing? I'm not sorry for anything that I say on this game and NFTs, I guess. I mean, that's a different topic, but it just doesn't make sense to me why people are okay with buying this game. It might be fun, but we deserve better than something like this. Do you agree or disagree with my take on this? Do you have any thoughts? Did you buy Battlefield 2042? And if you did you sign the petition? Do you want your money back? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on my social media pages. But that's it for the show this week. This is a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. You guys mean everything to me. I love my friends. I love my family. You guys have been supporting me since I started this dumb little show that no one really listens to, but it's fun to make, so I make them. Also, if you enjoyed the show, I'd love to get some feedback from you on how I can improve. And leave some likes and follows on my social media pages. Again, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, SplitScreenKC, and Facebook. You can follow us, leave a like, Split Screen Podcast. And if you'd like to follow me personally, Chris Garcia, aka KCCHRISG, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, KCCHRISG. Send me some love, send me some hate, send me some feedback, send me some topics, suggestions, thoughts, whatever you think you want to send me. If you just want to talk, say hello. I would love to say hi, I love talking to people. But that's it. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, evening, wherever it is, wherever you are. I hope you're doing fantastic. I hope you're happy. I hope you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for listening and for your continued support. It means everything to me, and without it, I wouldn't be making these. So I hope you stay safe. Wash your hands, please. It's the least you could do. And I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye from lovely Kansas City.